Oh, we've lost audio. Oh, hey, Barbara. We have lost audio. We have lost Caleb.
Caleb, we can't hear you.
Oh, he just came for a few seconds. Is he muted? I think he muted himself, maybe.
He's unmuted.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. There you are.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry for that. Okay. As I was saying, it is a privilege to be.
Something is wrong again. Now we can't hear you. You said to be, then off. Oh, yeah, it's got unstable connection. Okay. What? Huh?
Caleb, you can try joining again.
Are you getting me now?
Yes. What is going on? Would you know?
I'm trying to share my from reading from my document. Then when I go back, it doesn't transmit the sound.
Oh, you're trying to share your screen?
Not really. I'm trying to get to my resource. Then
To your
can you
resource.
can you hear me? Can you hear
Yes.
me?
You see, you're trying to get to your resource. Resource. That means the document on your device. All right, it's gone again. So here, I wonder that resource is turning off the audio.
Maybe Caleb, you can just speak without necessarily having to share, because that is going to alter your audio system.
The audio is gone again.
Hello. Can you get me?
Yes. So
Yes.
yes, go ahead, please. We can hear you. Okay. He's coming in and out. In, out. Now it's out again. Okay, what are we going to do? No audio at all. What's happening is audio.
Caleb, we can't hear you. Maybe you can leave the meeting and join again.
So today we're talking about capital formation for water. Isn't it?
Yes, Doc. Capital formation for water project.
It's exciting to hear what Caleb has to say, but he's having such serious technical difficulties. All right, Caleb.
Can you get me now?
Yes. So what's going on, Caleb? What is cutting out your audio? It's amazing. Now he's gone again. Yeah. Something is switching off the audio. Whatever it is. What
I think Caleb is switching tabs on his phone or probably the laptop, and maybe he hasn't allowed for display over other options. So that means when he leaves this site or this particular page, the audio is turned off.
Okay. Now, Caleb, you can speak.
Okay.
So what is happening? What are you doing that's turning off your audio?
I haven't downloaded my Zoom, so I'm using the web. Kinda tricky, switching tabs.
Switching tab does not switch off the audio.
Very.
Eh? Switching tab does not switch off the audio. All right, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so it's gone again. But I think, well, yeah, it's gone silent. Okay, so capital formation. We're going to be speaking briefly about this capital formation from the perspective of water. And we have said, why is capital important? Capital is the product of your labor. That is what costs. That's what called capital. Whatever you do, whatever you're doing produces certain thing of value. That thing of value that you produce is what's called capital. The thing is that capital, in order for it to be seen, it has to be represented in a certain way. That is, capital is not visible or is not evident without representation. So that mechanism of representation of capital is that's what the idea of formation. And I have given this example before, which I'm going to give you. Formation of capital requires capital to be identified or to have an identification system. For example, you as a human being, you do not exist without your ID card. All right? Has it occurred to you that you are not there if you don't have your ID? It's because of your ID that people get to know who you are. People in your family can know who you are, but if you were to go somewhere, like a bank, the bank people will ask you for your ID to open a bank account. So that is what's about. It's about representation. A document that provides attestation to who you are. Now, the value that you produce every day, if it's going to form capital, it has to be represented by something else. Not the value you're producing, but something else that is representing that value. That's representation. And that representation is a form of attestation. You cannot form capital without attestation of capital. Attestation is either the document like an ID card, or a document like the title deed for your piece of land, or a document like a certificate. And without certificates, then there is no capital. Capital is already there, but that capital has no life. It's called dead capital. And so water, in order for us to fund water, we have first of all to understand that. How do we represent our capital? The value of the things that we do every day, so that we can form capital with it. See? Now, in the previous finance system, it has been very, very difficult to represent the value of work that people do every day. For example, say for example, before Africa was colonized, people were living on pieces of land without title deeds. And that's why colonization was very effective. So what the colonial masters did was to come and occupy that land and then issue title deeds to those pieces of land. They issued title deeds to themselves. So they say they are the owners of the land. So the title deeds represent ownership of capital. And that title deed is what's called, what becomes liquid, because you can take the title deed to the bank and borrow money against it. Okay. So the title deeds turns a solid piece of land into liquid capital. See that title deed turns a solid piece of land into liquid capital. Now, if you bring it out to other value things of value that produce every day, when they do not have title, you cannot take them to the bank. That's the idea. You hear people, you can take this to the bank. You cannot take the value of your work to the bank because it has no representation. There's no title deed. And that is what is when the value of work produced doesn't have title deed, is called dead capital. The value is dead, the capital is dead, it's not live. So it cannot, it's not liquid. Live capital is liquid, and it helps you to mobilize other resources. Now, the technology of age for representation of capital, the value of the work that people are producing every day, is called the blockchain token. So the Actuate token is similar to a title deed. So now, if we talk about the question of forming capital for funding water projects, you know why we're not able to raise money for water is because we don't know how to form capital. That's one thing for the value of the work we produce. So Actuate token becomes that token of representation, or say attestation of the value of the work that you're producing every day. And when the value of the work that you produce every day is not represented in the marketplace, it creates an illusion of scarcity. You know, scarcity. That's why in our life in economics, we are talking about a scarcity of water. This scarcity of water, where water actually in itself is not scarce. What is scarce is the ability to form capital to harness the abundance of water. Water is already abundant because we receive water, rainwater on a regular basis from places, or there's water underground for those places that don't receive rainfall every season. But you cannot get the underground water without money. You have to dig boreholes, things like that. A borehole would cost about 2 million to 3 million shillings. Now you see, how do you find 2 or 3 million shillings to dig a borehole if you're in a dry region? Or even, how do you find money to create a system for harvesting water from your own roof? That is money. That's money's capital. Now, if we figure out that the value of the work we produce every day gets represented in the marketplace, then forming capital to say dig boreholes becomes as easy as 1, 2, 3. And that's what blockchain is able to do. That because blockchain is distributed, is decentralized. So capital formation now is not a job of some centralized organizations like the Capital Authority. See, we have a Capital Authority in Kenya. But if you were to speak to people about Capital Authority to help you to form capital for water projects, they are going to say, what is that? They cannot understand it, cannot comprehend that. But decentralized finance, first of all, is able to provide attestation of the value of the work that you produce every day. The actual token itself. That means that it can represent your value just like an ID card. Then all we have to do is we take those actual token. Everybody gets actual token. And when you're holding actual token, then you use it to create liquidity pool. And then we use those liquidity pool to execute what is called quadratic funding or retroactive public good funding. So we can raise money through quadratic funding. And that means that for the number of holders, quadratic funding is if you have, say, 100 people in a certain community holding Actuate token, and they're going to contribute those tokens to, say, a borehole drilling project. 100 people, all of them have got a wallet with Actuate tokens. Then you can have people who are investors investing in water projects coming to provide matching fund based on the number of people that are in that group. So 100 people squared, the square of 100 people, that gives you to about 10,000, multiplied by the amount of money contributed by each one of those 100 people, and that is the matching fund provided for the borehole project. Why is this very powerful? Traditionally, water projects such as digging boreholes and trying to provide water to the communities has been classified as charitable projects. Charitable projects. I want to say that word again, charitable projects. You see, in organization science, we have two types of projects, two types of company organizations that are charitable. They are supposed to be not for profit. They are not expecting, there's no expectation of profit in a charitable organization. And those are the organizations that don't expect profit, and they're going to be doing the water projects, because when you're drilling water for community, you are not expecting any profit from that, but you're going to do good. I mean, give people access to good, clean water for all the things that clean water should do in a community. That is called charity. Then on the other hand, we have organizations called for-profit organizations. Those for-profit organizations promise profit to investors. Like if you invest, you know you're going to get return on investment, something called ROI. Okay, so that is the organization model that has existed for the last maybe 2 centuries in organization design. So we have charitable organizations and for-profit companies. So for-profit companies have grown very big to become multinational corporations, and they have brought us a lot of technologies like motor vehicles, electricity, computers, and all that. Those are for profit. They are very, very good. Even cell phones, even so companies like Google, Microsoft, those are for-profit companies. But you would not expect Microsoft to be drilling boreholes in the villages because there's no profit there. So they're looking for making large amounts of profit. And so investors are attracted profits. Now, for projects that are for public good, let's call them public good projects, which are like water, provision of water in the community, there's no expectation of profit. And that, because there's no expectation of profit, then we have been made to believe, and I want to repeat that again, we have been made to believe we can only fund such projects through maybe kindness or goodness of our hearts or charity. So in the United States, the government tried to I say try because it's just a try to encourage people to invest in charitable work by giving them tax deductions. They can actually reclaim back their money they invested in charity. So the government will come and meet them through something called 501c3 type of status. So 501c3 means that if you give money to charity, you're going to get tax refund. So people can become encouraged, but a lot of people do not care about that. Why do they have to wait for Uncle Sam to give them money back when they can actually invest in Microsoft or Google and earn a healthy return on investment? Because first of all, when you give your money to the government, to charity, and the government tells you that you can use it as a tax write-off, the government still does not give you 100% back. You're going to get to maybe something like 70, 80%. So if you are given $1,000, you might write off about $900. That is not the same as investing $1,000 in Microsoft common stock or Google common stock, because Google's common stock can multiply in value in the marketplace twice, thrice, 3 times. So $1,000 can become $30,000. But when you give to charity, you can get $1,000. You get back maybe $900 because you are doing this for the goodness of your hearts. Okay, you're giving back to the community. See, that's the idea, giving back. And now human beings, in our mind, we don't want to give back anything. We want to flourish. We want things that we do to multiply. Not that we give, we when they multiply, we just give back. And that's why it's really hard to run a charitable organization, because you have to go convincing people all the time that please give us money so that we can go and drill boreholes. Yeah. And so it becomes a state of begging for money. That's what charity is. Charity is, the other name for charity is love. Love is what's called charity, I think, in the old King James Bible. So love is charity. And why charity now is considered not for profit in the traditional financing model is because you cannot account for love. Love does not appear anywhere in the balance sheet of any financial organization. Any organization, you cannot say that this is the value of the love that I gave to the people. There's no representation of love, of value, of charity in the balance sheet of the traditional finance system. That is the problem, that the mathematics of the traditional finance system does not have no way of understanding or even comprehending the value of things that you do because of love of other human beings, of love of people, or love of others, or what's called public good. So public good has no bottom line. The bottom line in balance sheets is the bottom line when you have done all you have balanced your earnings and what's called you have balanced the balance sheet on the how much money is coming in for the revenue and how many liabilities you have. Then you have a bottom line. So public good or matters of love, matters of charity do not appear anywhere in the bottom line. So there is no bottom line in the traditional finance system on matters of public good. That is why those matters are usually left to government organizations, because governments are public organizations. They have interest in the public and citizens, and they do not have a bottom line like the finance system. Now, that absence of bottom line occurs because we do not have a way of representing charity on the balance sheet in the traditional finance system. We do not have a way of representing charity. There is no attestation. Even if people can say, oh, those boreholes were very good, they produced so much, but there is no title, there's nothing. The banker can say, okay, how much is that? What's the value of that? You cannot show it until the blockchain comes along. Now, what you're saying with a token, like Actuate token itself, the token, the way it's designed on the blockchain, is able to capture the value of charity and represent it on the financial bottom line. Ladies and gentlemen, this is really powerful, that what was considered unprofitable because it could not appear in the financial bottom line, today on the blockchain, you can actually see the actual value of that and that charitable effort. So how does a charitable effort appear in the bottom line on the blockchain? Let's say the blockchain bottom line. Charitable effort appears on the financial bottom line in the following manner. One, the token itself. So if people contribute money to, say, like you contribute money to charity and they receive a token, you contribute money and you receive the actual token itself. The actual token is liquid, and the actual token has got its own value on the blockchain because it's liquid, and you can put it in the liquidity pool, meaning that it can be appear on the decentralized exchange all by itself. Okay, that token is a token of representation of the money that you've put in charity, but the token itself is in the exchanges. Just like say Google shares of common stock appear in the Nasdaq, the Nasdaq market in New York City or in Wall Street, the tokens themselves will appear in decentralized exchanges such as what? Uniswap, PancakeSwap, SushiSwap, and the like. That has never happened before. You could never list the charitable donations on a stock exchange. See that? Because it was anathema, because it was charity. Charity has no value. Remember what Einstein said way back in 1929 is, not everything that counts can be counted. Not everything that counts can be counted. Einstein was referring to things like charity, things like love. He said that you cannot find love on any balance sheet, but love counts a lot. Somebody is calling me. Anyway, let me just tell her I'm in a meeting. Hello? Hello, is this Jane? Jane, I'm in a meeting. Can I call you in about 1 hour?
Caleb, if you're ready, maybe you can take over.
Okay. All right, yeah, maybe the evening. Okay. So, hello. Okay, so I was talking about what cannot be counted, and that is because the mathematics that we have used in finance has come from that old math, which even Albert Einstein was working on to develop his own theories, the theory of relativity. And so that's why I'm saying not everything that counts can be counted. Now we know that on the new math, the information system, we can count things like charity, and we can represent in the financial system. So what does this mean for all of us, without going to all that deep science, is that we understand that now we have the technology for bringing value, our own value, and representing, even giving it attestation. And so that means that we can form capital in a way that is all different from what was happening in the traditional finance system, that we can raise money to dig boreholes, we can raise money to build better roofs for water harvesting, and to create a whole water harvesting program throughout. So how we do that is you get actual tokens, what you have said, and if we want this thing to happen, everyone must get actual tokens, either by buying them through liquidity pools, and that is swapping. Second, by doing what? By creating liquid pool. It is important that you create a liquid pool. It's no point having actual token and keeping them in your wallet. It's important you create a liquid pool. Liquid pool involves you getting another token, such as BNB or ETH or even Bitcoin, and then tying it together with what? With actual token, and putting it in PancakeSwap or Uniswap or even SushiSwap. In one of those, there are about 80 of those decentralized finance platforms. Then when now we come to fundraising, which means quadratic funding, then we have a lot of holders, and we are going to be able to reach people in the world, including the diaspora community, to contribute to those funds for building, for forming capital. That's what it's about. So let me speak to this lady, and then I think you're saying, Barbara, that Caleb can join us again.
Yes, Caleb said he's ready now. He can speak.
Okay, okay, Caleb.
Hello, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, Caleb. Yes.
Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience.
It's all right. Go ahead.
Okay. As I had said earlier on, I'm Caleb Maturi, and it's a pleasure. I'm going to present to you a topic about capital formation to fund the water projects. Among our goals as the Actuate nation. So capital formation simply refers to accumulating the financial resources to invest in long-term projects that are infrastructure for the development of these water projects. Effective capital formation is critical in the context of water projects, which often require significant investment due to their scale of complexity. And these projects include building water dams, reservoirs, water treatment plants, irrigation systems, and other urban water supply networks. I'll begin to give the ways that we can source this capital for the water project. And one way in which we can do this is by the public sector funding. This is through the government budgets, bonds, and subsidies and grants. The government budgets allocate, the government allocates the budgets that are from the national or the local levels. These budgets are given out to support for the infrastructure development. For instance, the tax revenues might finance large-scale water projects like dams or irrigation systems. Bonds, the government issues municipal or sovereign bonds to raise money for water projects. These bonds are repaid over time with interest from future revenue on taxes. And subsidies on grants and subsidies and grants, where the public funds are sometimes used to provide direct subsidies for specific water initiatives. As I move on, few examples are like the National Water Sector Investment Plan under the government budgets, and the Kisumu Water Supply Project that is under the government bonds. On to the next is the private sector investment. We have public-private partnerships, triple Ps. These private entities partner with governments to finance, build, and operate water infrastructure. For instance, a private company might invest in a desalination plant in exchange for a share of the revenues that will be generated from that. Also, we have equity financing, that private investors or companies may provide capital in return of ownership stakes or future revenue from the project. The third way of sourcing this is the capital is through multilateral and bilateral agencies. Organizations and agencies like the World Bank, the IMF, that is the International Monetary Fund, and the regional development banks like the Asian banks or the African development banks provide loans and grants to fund water projects to countries that need them. The ASLS, bilateral aid from one government to another, can also support specific initiatives under the water funding projects. We also have another one as the community-based funding, where the community cooperates to pull up resources that help in coming up or building small-scale water projects like wells or rainwater and harvesting systems. We also, under the community-based funding, the microfinance industry is not left out. The small loans to local communities can enable them to invest in the low-cost water solutions. These microfinance facilities can offer loans to these communities, helping them to finance their low-cost water solutions that they may have had as an idea. Also, the fifth one is the innovative financing mechanisms. We have green bonds, impact investments, and blended finance. For the green bonds, they are specifically designed to fund environmentally sustainable projects, including water management systems. This one is happening in Kenya, and we have few examples. You can check them out that are financed by this way. Also, they are impact investments that seek both financial returns and positive environmental or social impacts, such as improved water access. These can help in sourcing the capital. And also we have blended finance, which by combining concessional funds from donors with private investment to reduce risks and attract more capital. This is the below market rates. The sixth one is the quadratic funding, and this is a mechanism that is designed to support public goods such as water infrastructure by pooling individual contribution and matching them based on collective interest. It amplifies smaller contributions through a quadratic matching formula, ensuring that projects with broader public support receive more funding. For instance, if many individuals contribute small amounts to a community water project, quadratic funding magnifies this contribution through a matching pool, making small-scale water initiatives viable. We have retroactive public goods funding, and this is a funding that rewards the projects that their impact has been demonstrated, incentivizing innovation and effectiveness. In this model, water projects are developed using upfront capital from other sources, such as private investments or grants. Once the project's benefits have been proven, the results like improved water access or environmental sustainability is seen, the governments and other philanthropic organizations reimburse or reward the developers of these projects. And also, this approach encourages innovation in water management and infrastructure, as developers can be confident of financial support if the projects succeed. Okay, as we move there, we have to see the importance of capital formation for water projects. Why is it important that we have this capital for these water projects? Since, as earlier discussed, that these water projects require extensive funding and resources, so it is important that we have the capital. So the water projects often involve significant upfront costs and long-term maintenance. Without effective capital formation, these projects may stall or fail, leading to negative social, economic, and environmental impacts. Capital formation is essential as it helps in infrastructure development, it helps finance the construction of facilities like water treatment plants, pipelines, and storage systems. Also, another importance is it improves accessibility and quality. And in this case, we are talking about water. The water availability and the quality is increased and is improved. Capital formation provides the means to expand water access to underserved areas, ensuring reliable and safe water supplies. Another importance is it promotes economic growth, ensures water availability for agriculture, industry, and urban areas. And this drives productivity in both the sectors. Also, it enables climate resilience in the sense that if the projects are funded, like the dams or the rainwater harvesting systems, they adapt to changing the climate patterns, and this helps in a great deal in the climate resilience. Also, as we all know, there are positives, ups and downs of certain thing or a specific thing. So in this case, capital formation may also have its challenges that may hinder its full potential or getting to the goals. We have challenges like high initial costs for these water infrastructure projects, as they require large capital outlays and making them less attractive to private investors who could be wanting to invest something small and get returns, obviously. We also have revenue risks as a challenge because inconsistent revenues from user fees or tariffs can deter investment. Yeah, people cannot, maybe using these water projects, you may supply water, but the users may not be that fully compliant in paying the fees or the tariffs. So it gets harder for the maintenance of the project. Also, we have political and regulatory risks. Government policies, like there are some laws or policies that make it hard for this to come to be a success. I've forgotten an example. There are other things like corruption or unstable political environments that can discourage investment. Limited access to credit. We have the developing countries that are in dire need of these projects, but now we get that their credit scores are very bad now that they can't, in a way that they even can't secure any loans or even foreign investors to help them in materializing their projects. Also, you have environmental concerns. Large-scale projects like dams, may face opposition due to ecological and social impacts. Yeah, this is, I think, self-explanatory. We also have strategies to enhance capital formation. Not that we have the challenges, we have to come up with ways to counter them, and to have a clear way or a plan. So we have to overcome these challenges to enhance the capital formation. And one way in which you can do this is through policy reforms, establish clear and transparent regulatory frameworks to encourage private investment. These can help a lot. Also, tariff reforms, in that water projects have fair pricings to the users so that they can curb the inconsistency of revenue streams while protecting vulnerable populations. We also have risk mitigation through mechanisms like guarantees or insurances to reduce the risks that may happen to the private investors. We also have blended finance. Blended finance leverage public funds to attract private and multilateral investments by reducing these risks. Yeah, and also, as I finish, community engagement through the involvement of the local communities in planning and financing small-scale projects and even the large-scale ones to avoid the hostility or even the kupingwa part. Yeah, the technological innovations also can help us come up with ways that can help us to enhance capital formation in the way in that we employ cost-effective and scalable technologies such as solar-powered water pumps or smart water meters to reduce financial burdens. As I conclude, as we have learned also that capital formation is very vital for funding water projects and enabling governments and organizations to address critical water needs. By us leveraging these diverse funding sources and implementing innovative finance strategies, having stakeholders can ensure that we have successful development of these projects, and also they will be very sustainable to the populations that they are intended to. Overcoming these challenges requires collaboration from both the public and private and community actors, along with robust governance and policy frameworks. That is all for today. I hope you have learned something. Thank you. Back to you, Barbara.
Okay, thank you very much for that comprehensive and enlightening presentation on capital formation for water projects. And the information you've shared today provides us with a clear understanding of both the opportunities and challenges involved in mobilizing resources for water infrastructure development. Maybe just to mention the key takeaways, we have diverse funding sources, and then innovative financing mechanisms, challenges and mitigation strategies, and broader impacts of effective capital formation. And lastly, the call for collaboration, which is Caleb has highlighted the importance of partnerships among governments, private investors, communities, and international organizations in order to achieve shared goals. And this approach is also important for scaling up successful projects and ensuring a long-term impact of the projects. And maybe we can just reflect on the insights shared and remember that access to water is not merely a technical or financial challenge, it's a moral imperative. And the strategies outlined today offer a roadmap to align financial innovation with social and environmental responsibility, ensuring that every drop of water is a step towards a healthier, more equitable, and sustainable world. Thank you very much, Caleb, for that impactful session. And we look forward to seeing these concepts translated into actionable plans that drive tangible results. And with that, I would like to invite our CEO, Dr. Macharia, to give a few remarks as the rest of the audience can be typing in their comments, questions, or additional remarks. Dr. you're welcome.
All right, thank you, Barbara. So Barbara, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Well, thank you, Caleb. So yeah, still we have talked about capital formation mainly from the traditional way of raising money, which has been very, very hard. And this traditional way of raising money has led us to this idea of scarcity of water. Water is not scarce. That is what I would like us to understand. Water is not scarce. Water is abundant. What is scarce is the technology for forming capital to capture the abundance of water. See, that is what is lacking. But now the technology is here. So innovative technology. So if we can take all the things that Caleb said, and then we put them on the new technology, which is called blockchain, you're going to see abundance of water manifesting. That's what it's about. And this is like automating the previous way of doing things. So the public-private partnership becomes totally automated on the blockchain because, say, water is a public good project, as we said. Water is public good. And consumption of water is private. So the traditional way of conceptualizing or even understanding public-private partnership is where the government comes in with money and then the private individuals also come with money, investors. And you see that it creates a certain polarity, that polarity where there's a government on one side and then there's a private investors on the other side. So it's bipolar. See? That's the whole traditional public good funding projects have become so difficult because of that bipolar. You know the bipolar syndrome, where somebody goes into mood swings of high depression and then the other time they're in anxiety, hypomania, that's bipolar. That's the bipolarity of the traditional in the finance system that is occasion for the charitable projects. You could say it has this type of bipolar. That's why it's very, very difficult. It's usually very complicated to pull off a public-private partnership project. Even we ordained by such high priests from the World Bank or the IMF, those type of projects eventually end up crashing, you know, like what they call the white elephants. See, white elephants. Yeah, because that's a funding model which became very popular in the 1990s, where we had private individuals getting concessions from governments to participate in financing. Say, for example, if you want to build a water system for a city, you give a contract to a private group, usually a consortium, a group of investors, but then it's endorsed by the government. So that group of investors is going to build the water project and manage it for 30 years or 15 years and then hand it over back to the government. Those are called concession agreements. That type of concession agreement structure was popularized in the 1990s in what they call modern project financing. And many people enter into concession projects. You have investors coming in, they're saying they're putting in the money, but what they do is to trap the government, because they know the government will be paying them back by collecting taxes from people, from its own population. So because the government has got the power to tax people, and then now the private investors know they are going to get their return on investment, not from the project itself, but from the taxes that the government is going to collect from people. Now, that creates something known as a moral hazard, because the project itself does not have to be profitable. And so there's no point of worrying about the profitability as long as the investors are getting paid from taxation, from the taxes collected by the government, from taxpayers. See, when the source of revenue is different from the project itself, you create a moral hazard. In economic, moral hazard means that the project itself is oblivious of whether it becomes profitable or not. Okay, so the guys who are investing, they may not care. They may not care about the actual profitability, the actual even operation of that project, to make it operational, so long as they are taxpayers in that country and the government has signed documents to say that taxpayers are going to be paying the money. So they'll be collecting money from the central bank. That is really crazy. And you've seen many countries have been duped into that type of financing. You know, many governments, they sign these concession agreements, then they end up paying, using taxpayers' money to pay for work that is not done in what is known as white elephant projects. So that's got an intended consequence of the PPP model, or the public-private partnership, because public means that politicians and of course bureaucrats, they really are not business people. They're not trained in learning business and all that. All they're trained in is maybe politics. They're politicians, they want to get votes, and they will do anything to make sure they get votes, including lying to people on a continuous basis. So that's why these type of models that involve public, the state government, come with a lot of problems in financing. Yeah, and we know that model has not worked very well. And the actual real model itself, the actual problem, the fundamental problem is governance. That public itself, which they are saying they are representing in the public-private partnership, does not participate in the decision making. There is no public participation in governance. There is no public participation. And you have seen these stories in Kenya about public participation, particularly the Adani Group trying to acquire and run the JKA, the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. That's an example of what they call public-private partnership, where some few fellows in the government and politics will go into secret meetings, and then they concession the whole airport for 30 years to somebody else outsider from there. And they actually have no way of evaluating whether that project is going to be successful or not. They don't care about that. What they care is that they get money in their pocket. Meanwhile, the group, according to that agreement, that group was going to be collecting from that, whatever is money from the government for 30 years, 30 years, and then they can hand it over. So whether the airport is functional, operational or not, it's really not, is not at the forefront. So because the public itself, which is being taxed to pay for all this money, it was not aware in the first place and did not participate in making that decision. And that means the public was not involved in the governance decision for that. Okay. So that is the problem with the traditional finance system, that the public cannot participate, what's called public participation. And you've seen there's been so much talk about public participation, and they go out there in the community saying public participation, now we're informing the public. All that is nonsense. Yeah. Public participation means representation by a vote, public making a decision. You make a decision. Now, the good news is that on the blockchain, you're able to execute public participation automatically on your cell phone by voting. You can vote as an individual such that projects, and that's what in what Caleb has talked about, retroactive public good funding and even quadratic funding. You have tokens of two kinds. One token is like the actual token itself. That one is in the token house. Token house. So all the holders of the token hold the token, and they can make decisions about how those tokens are going to be applied in financing. So the other token is usually a soul-bound token, identity token, which is in citizens' house, that is members of that nation, so that it can allow them to participate in decision making. Such that now, if you're talking about financing or raising money for a water project, that's what raising money for a project for public good, say like water. Then you as individual participants, you contribute Actuate tokens, which of course you bought from the market, and then you have them, and then you say we are going to contribute. You're actually not giving your tokens away. You're just putting the tokens in the liquidity pools. They're still yours. That's what's amazing. The tokens remain in your wallet. They're still yours, but you supply them to liquidity pool. Okay, and then you also tie them with another token like BNB. And then when it comes to making a decision about what projects want to be funded, you use the other token to vote. So they're going to be voting mechanisms where you can vote, and this one person, one vote. One person. So one person owns the soul-bound token because it represents your soul, it represents your humanity or your identity. Is the attestation or identity token. Your identity token is like your ID that you can vote now on the blockchain and say that we want this number, this bunch of tokens, this number of tokens to be assigned to this project. And then because blockchain is transparent, it is online, it's available on the web for everyone to see. You can see how that money is being allocated. And then you can read the proposal documents about where the money is going. And then when accounting is being done, what's amazing is the accounting is instant. It is live, it's happening at the same time. So you're not waiting for 3 months to get quarterly reports. You're seeing your daily reports, minute by minute reports published on BSC Scan or either Scan or something like that. So that's this 100% public participation on the blockchain. That's what's most powerful. And then we with the blockchain now we execute blockchain judiciously. We are not going to end up in white elephant projects where we have just a few politicians, handful of people, like 6 men. Usually they are men. They make this decision behind closed doors, and then they say, okay, now, our airport is going to be managed by so and so. Nobody else knew that. And the new taxpayers will be paying this so and so who is managing our airport. See, extreme nonsense, but of course, it's not real nonsense. It creates a lot of strife, that economic strife, poverty among the people, because of those financing models that are really, really dangerous for us. So blockchain, that's why everyone must embrace blockchain today as the technology of the age. I know there's some people who are going to come and try to corrupt it, but at least it helps us to give us that public participation that was not possible. It is not possible at all, but to have public participation except through mouth, to word of mouth. They just say, okay, we have it for the public, but really the public doesn't have any say in the decision about the financing of the project. So this is the power. Now you have the power. You have the power in your hands today through tokens and that mode of representation that we have explained. So what are projects? I think over the next few years, let's say 2025, we're going to work very strongly to implement this type of funding processes. But water itself is going to be available in abundance in the nation. See, there is no scarcity of water. I want to say that. What is scarce is that we are not able to form capital because we have been hoodwinked. Now the hoodwink is over. Now we are able to see what is lying under the hood. Okay, so that's what I can say. Thank you so much, Kelly. And back to you, Barbara.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Masharia, for your remarks. And there are no questions. So I'll just mention about liquidity pools briefly. So like Caleb has said, capital formation is what we're going to use to be able to fund the water project. And at Actuate, capital formation is what we call liquidity. Liquidity in decentralized finance is created by liquidity pools on platforms such as Uniswap, PancakeSwap, and 80 other platforms. Liquidity pools are formed by tying together two tokens such as Actuate token with Bitcoin or Actuate tokens with BNB. And you can get your BNB from Binance. And I'm going to share the video on how you can create liquidity pools. And with enough capital, we are able to fund water projects and of course, healthcare at large. So remember to buy your BNB today and create your liquidity pool. So I'll be sharing the video on how to create your liquidity pool and the attendance form. So thank you very much, everyone, for making time to the session. And I want to wish each one of you happy holidays. We shall meet again next week.
Merry Christmas. Happy holiday. Yeah. Christmas is when the 25th. Yeah, this month, of course.
Yes.
Okay, bye everybody. And now, during Christmas, give yourself a gift, create a liquidity pool. That is your Christmas gift to yourself and also all the members of your family. Now that you're going for Christmas and you'll be among your people, tell them about these things we are talking about. There is no scarcity. If you create a liquidity pool, if everyone was created a liquidity pool, so everyone in your family must and should have liquidity pool, but that of course requires everyone in your family to have Actuate token. In order for them to have Actuate token, it means that everyone must have a wallet. Take this opportunity when you're going to be meeting family members. Take this opportunity to teach your family members, friends, relatives to get a Trust Wallet or MetaMask. In addition, when you teach them how to get a Trust Wallet, MetaMask, teach them how to get Actuate token. Some of the Actuate token you have, you can encourage them to swap your tokens so you get your tokens active, they're going. And then teach them how to create a liquid pool. If you have questions, you get stuck, we're available in the team. You can reach out to Barbara or anyone else in our team to show you, to help you answer questions that you could be facing from family members. Now, family members and relatives, they may still be in that old attitude against crypto, which came about in the early 2010s, where people are saying crypto is a sin, is an element of sin for sinners, for drug and warlords. That's a lie. Crypto, let's say, actual things like Actuate token, they are technology like WhatsApp. You cannot say that because you're using WhatsApp, you're a sinner, or you are a drug lord, or something like that. It was a narrative created by people in the centralized finance because they are afraid, they are terrified of it. Now their terror you should not allow that their terror to rule you. It's not even your concern. Is that you should not even let it discourage you from explaining to the people. Now, if you find such people in your community, tell them that blockchain is a technology just like WhatsApp. The primary technology for blockchain is it's cryptocurrency. There's no point talking about blockchain without cryptocurrency. That is nonsense. A lot of people say, okay, why don't you use blockchain and forget about crypto? That is somebody who is misguided. I can tell you, blockchain specifically was created by Satoshi Nakamoto. It's the internet of value. So it's the internet of value is what is called cryptocurrency. So the rest of the blockchain, if you want to use blockchain besides value, then you're wasting your time. That's an adventure in missing the points. It's like saying that you do not want to use email because there's a post office. Yeah. What the heck? The email was made for a different purpose. So the block to take you away from post office so that you don't have to go to post office to buy stamps to send mail, snail mail. And so snail mail still has got its own purpose. Email has got its own purpose. So Web 2, or creating things like Facebook, dynamic web, has got its purpose. Blockchain has its purpose. And the purpose of blockchain is value. It's called the own web. So anyone who does not understand that needs a lot of education to tell him that blockchain is a technology for value, technology for own, such that when you're faced with questioning the family, people who are misguided or misdirected by the political narrative against crypto, you need to tell them that that is only a narrative that is coming from the naysayers, people who are actually terrified. They're terrified that they might lose the status quo. These things happen all the time. When new technologies come, people make a lot of scary stories. There's nothing scary about blockchain. It's just a technology like WhatsApp. Nothing, even WhatsApp came, people are scared of it, but now see people use it every day. So, well, wish you Merry Christmas. It's excellent weekend. Merry Christmas, and let's meet again next week. Thank you so much, Barbara.
Thank you very much, Daktari. Thank you, everyone, and have happy holidays. Enjoy the festive season.